I'm just going to recap a little bit. I have my 2-letter J's. I'm going to grab them both. I just shifted them slightly and align them so they're perfectly through the center. I like the idea of this. I think it looks like a butterfly, and since my name is Jen and Jelly for my food truck, that works. I'm going to grab both of them and I'm going to group them. I can do that either here or by hitting Control G on my keyboard. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to use the pen tool and I'm going to trace the shape of these letters in order to make a more solid butterfly shape. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so as I'm working I don't accidentally move these guys or click on them and have some problems that come up. Go over to this icon here, which is layers, or I can go to Window and choose layers. Layers work similarly as they do in Photoshop in that you can have multiple layers. Whatever's the top layer is what's on top. But they also work a little bit differently in that each time you're working in a layer, you're putting stuff all together. So you end up with what's called like sublayers. And even within the sublayers, you have additional little breakdowns if you expand them. So because I've grouped these 2 letters, I click on this, I can see what items are in my group. And even though they are grouped, I can control them separately when I'm working on their individual levels. Lot right there. But what I want to do is I actually want to group this or lock this group. Just clicking right here next to the eyeball will lock it, which means I can't move it. I'm not going to shift it around. Everything's going to stay pretty much right where it is. Before I do that, one thing I want to really reinforce to everybody is work big. You can always make something smaller, and it's easier to see what you're doing when you're working large. Rather than leaning really close to the screen to see what you're doing, you can actually sit at a more comfortable place. Now I'm going to lock it. Make a new layer right here, folded piece of paper with the corner on top. And I'm going to use my pen tool, and I'm just going to trace the outline shapes here. So I click, hold, let go, click, hold, let go. I'm not worried. Actually, I am a little worried. I want to pick a weird color first so I can see it better. Okay. If I'm not perfect, because 1, nobody's perfect, and 2, I can go in and I can alter this later. So I'm just going to pause this while I finish. Now I did a very quick and very rough job on this just so I can show you guys some of the options that you have. If I go like this, you can see, all right, there's sort of a butterfly shape. There's some funky stuff going on. I can edit this in a couple of ways. One is I can use what's called my direct selection tool. This will allow me to go in and choose individual anchor points, as well as manipulate individual handles. So that will allow me to get a little bit more control over what I'm doing. So that's the first thing you can do. Whoa, I don't know what happened there. The other thing you can do is you can convert the type of points you have. So remember, when we're using the pen tool, we have 2 options, click, let go. This will give us straight edges. Click, hold, drag will give us curved edges. And then if we want to, we can hold Alt and that will break our handle, which will give us sharper edges. But what if we needed those and we didn't do it in the first place? Under your pen tool in the sub menu, so if you click and hold that, you'll get the anchor point tool. I've always called it the convert anchor point tool, so forgive me because I will go back and forth on that. What this lets me do is I can go in, and this one in particular I know is wrong because it's got curves and I want it to be straight lines. So if I click on that, right now it's curved. If I just click and let go, it becomes one that's an actual point. And I'll show you that by zooming way in. It's a little crisscrossed. Got a little bit of spaghetti there. Just grab these guys, relocate my anchor, and there you go. So as you can see, it's starting to come along. I'm going to stop this here so you don't just watch me fix a butterfly for 5 minutes. Actually, one more thing I do want to show you is with your item selected, over here on the right hand side you have what's called appearance, and you can drop the opacity down so you can see both what you are creating and the item that's underneath, so you can really make sure to get your stuff aligned more carefully that way.